passive and active proposals. Some of it is part-time, some of it is development. Rob?
My idea of development is set up some residential areas in the canal area. Should be more residential. There should be some commercial. There should be, that's development. In my mind, development is that.
Well, we do have a lot of that in our waterfront development plan. It's just maybe your grandchildren that are going to see them reach out on the end. Okay, terms of reference, April 2011. We did, this was part of, I think, something that you brought up also, Michelle, and we did in February or April of 2011 drafted terms of reference that this committee drafted, and it was sent to council and approved by council. So those are the guidelines that we meet under.
I think, Madam Chair, that was an update of the original one that was established in the late 90s.
Yes, yes.
So I do recall that we went through, some of it was the same and some of it was
and I think that follows into the request from Michelle about asking each of us what the waterfront development means to us. So, Michelle, I think you've started us off by talking about what it means to you. Do you have something further you'd like to say on that?
That's it.
Keitha?
I think that
Pardon?
I think
Did you, what development?
Can you
I agree with what
No,
I can agree with what Michelle said, that I think that we've all pretty much had a conversation here that the parks are the parks, and you know what private landowners do around the parks are not necessarily within our control, as long as we're focused on continuing to beautify the areas that we are charged with.
Aaron?
Can you reintroduce the question?
At our last meeting, Michelle wanted each of us to think about what waterfront development meant to us.
After 3 years being on the committee, what does it mean to you?
Sure, just catch me off guard like that. Waterfront development, I guess, off the cuff, means protecting the park and bookending the park with real sustainable development, which increases beautification and development of the city, including taxation. In a way that takes us to 21st century.
Well done, Eric. Off the cuff.
Well, for me, it's always been about preserving the green space along the waterfront where possible, and at the same time maintaining control over the investments, the activities, and capacity or otherwise that are going to be incorporated in the park for the use of the large population. And I don't really anything more specific than that, really.
I wasn't here last meeting either, so I'm kind of caught off guard as well. But I think for me, it's just like we've talked about, keeping good connectivity and flow on the waterfront. And we've got a great waterfront trail, and I think keeping it from one end to the other and just making sure there's good amenities and preserving the green space and keeping things scenic where available.
You're slowly skipping back.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Good. Pretty well the same as what they said, but the most important thing is protecting our water. We kind of forget that we live on the water and it gets abused by a lot of things, and that's a very important thing. Making sure that we don't ruin it for the people and generations to come. Also, access to the park, making sure everybody still has access to the park.
I think what we should do is take development out of there and just stick with what we have, and it's a waterfront plan.
Yeah, exactly.
And put plan. If you want to do anything, it's waterfront planning.
That's right.
And get development out of there, because everybody's development is entirely different. If we stick with the waterfront plan as we adopt it, then we can get rid of this one word. So,
Well, this says Cornwall Waterfront Plan.
That's right.
This
Was
is
the
the
name of our
Waterfront
committee?
Development Committee.
Cornwall
and
Waterfront Plan, Cornwall Waterfront Development.
right.
The committee's called the Waterfront Development Committee, and I really don't know the start of that. Save and except it probably started with the first waterfront plan, which is the one in advance of that. And I think, speculating, but the word development is, okay, now we've got a plan, let's work to develop the plan. It's not in terms of a physical thing, but it's an advancing the plan, right? To develop the plan.
It should be an
Can I make a
implementation.
motion to adopt that opinion?
To remove the
To
development.
adopt that opinion.
I think if we're gonna
I think it
tackle
should be-
any changes with regards to the
Council.
waterfront plan, we need to like really get into it and rename it. I don't know that we can just rename it off the top.
There is a lot of confusion.
I think there should be some discussion about it.
Yeah, because, you know, we talk, and what we talk about mostly are the parklands, because that's at the stage that we can, what we can do. But there is in the waterfront plan development with regards to residential areas and retail areas and commercial areas on both ends of this vast space in the middle. So there is that kind of development there, although we might not see it because of access to the land to be able to do things.
Nor will we have any say over the development simply because we're only planning.
Well, but our planning and recommendations go to City Council, and we don't have the end result, but City Council has been very favorable to the recommendations that they've received from the waterfront plan. So I think we do have some kind of a say. And since his plan was, does have those two components on either end, and it was sent to council, and the plan was adopted by the council, so it's part of the official plan of the city of Cornwall, that, you know, there is some weight here. And
I'll give you an example how things get confused. We started out with the Land Acquisition Committee. Now it's called the Waterfront Land Development Committee. We don't want to have that
No.
paper. Yes, it is.
they're the land acquisition.
I know, but now it's called the Waterfront Land Development Committee. I don't know who changed it.
Oh,
or
is
how
it?
it's
I don't know who
changed
changed
But now
it
that's
either.
how it's referred to, but
Yeah.
we're confused now. Are we in the development business, or are we in the acquisition business?
Oh, we're getting too
Like
picky.
Michelle said, we should get, it's a waterfront plan,
Planning.
let's just stick with it.
Like, we are officially an implementation committee, not a development committee. A development committee, we would be
Has one.
looking for places to develop, do stuff.
Oh, wow, okay.
The other comment I have, Madam Chair, is, I mean, I'm not sure this committee has dealt with this issue yet, but in the context of development, the committee has
Thanks.
played a role of reviewing developments. There was a time when the bridge issue started, where there was a lot of work from this committee, and a lot of members wouldn't be here, but where the bridge was a development, if you want to call it that, and the committee spent a lot of time reviewing that and in a kind of development review function. I think the same thing with at times when the curling club was around, when the Woodhouse Museum was being moved, there was a discussion there about it's like reviewing that development and the right thing. So there have been development proposals by others, so this committee has played that development kind of review function.
Well, sorry that you, Stephen, we kind of lost our audience there. Well, let's just take this under consideration.